Hi everyone, I wanted to bring you a little bit of our setup that we're using right now, as well as the latest on our weather conditions as we head into this red flag warning period here. We've had two new fires start up, and one of which is called the Glass Fire. That's over in Napa County. Another one that we're tracking is up in Shasta County, and that is called, let me make sure I've got the right name, Zog Fire. So lots of stuff going on here as we head into this Sunday evening. So I wanted to, again, update you on the red flag warning as well as the wind advisory and give you a little sneak peek about how we're doing things now with our weather forecast. We're able to safely distance. We've got some computer issues that we're still dealing with, trying to make sure that we can function in a fully safe manner. So I thought I'd share with you tonight. So this is the setup that we are using. There's the camera and the lights that are pointed at our green screen now, which sit in my little den area. Here's the light, and then these are the graphics that I look at over here to my left. So again, this is the camera where you can see me holding my phone right now. And we'll be going over to the computer now to take a look at those graphics and see how things are going to continue with our fire conditions. We've seen the two fires that have started up. We're also tracking the North Complex, which is still going pretty good. They are getting pretty good containment, and the last that we heard is that they were able to maintain the containment lines even with the strong winds that we saw today. August Complex is still very large as well. All right, so here again is the little setup here, and we'll take a look at some of these graphics as we move over to the weather computer. All right, here's our red flag warning that continues to stay in effect until tomorrow evening. Winds out of the north and east at 15 to 30 miles per hour. Now, gusts are about 40 to 65 miles per hour. Unfortunately, those are very dangerous fire conditions. We still have a wind advisory in place. This will expire at 8 o'clock for the valley, but for the foothills, that's going to continue through tomorrow. Wind gusts locally in the valley have been close to 50 miles per hour in some isolated areas. Foothill winds, though, at about 55 miles per hour. North and northeast winds 20 to 30 miles per hour. Of course, we're tracking the power outages as well as the fire danger, trees down, and travel impact as well. All right, what are the peak wind gusts for today? Let's take a look at those. Currently, they've topped out at about 25 to 35 miles per hour. We've seen some isolated pockets, and I will point out this. Anywhere we're seeing some of these contours here that have kind of the purplish magenta color, that's where we're seeing some of the stronger concentrations of wind. So you can see some of that pushing into Butte County, parts of Nevada County, and up towards Lassen, and then down towards the west side of the state, over towards Napa, Solano. Napa is where we're tracking one of the fires. It's a little hard to see from this computer, but I will show you our satellite imagery. This is really impressive because you can see the smoke coming off of the North Complex, and with the north and east winds, so those are winds that are coming from the north and the east. Look at how it pushes that smoke over towards the coast. Here is the August Complex, and then the Zog Fire is over in Shasta County, and now we've got the new fire in Napa County, the Glass Fire, that we're going to be tracking as well. All of this very dangerous fire conditions, not to mention some of our afternoon highs that we saw for today, topping out in some places in the 100s. So we'll be tracking the potential for new record highs. Oroville at 103, Santa Rosa 102, Ukiah 101, Sacramento at 96, Fairfield 98 degrees today. A little cooler for Modesto. We didn't quite see the winds for a little bit deeper into the San Joaquin Valley, but we certainly have some issues with smoke, with an air alert in place for the San Joaquin Valley, for one, because of the creek fire that is burning very nearby, continuing to grow too. Very little containment on that. So this is where anywhere that you kind of see that purplish color right there, or lavender, that's where we have our air quality alert in effect. The primary culprit of what we're experiencing right now is this high to low pressure gradient. So basically we've got this high pressure building in, and under it, it's sinking warming air. And opposition is the low. We saw those clouds come in yesterday afternoon, beautiful conditions, but unfortunately the result is those two competing air masses. The low, of course, allows for rising and cooling air. High pressure has the cold air aloft, sinking, warming, and those are two very different air masses, and winds are created from temperature difference. So we see when those two are in a spatial distance like this, that we have the opportunity of some of those stronger winds, and that's exactly what happened for today. Let's talk for a moment about the high pressure ridge, okay? What is that going to do for us? Well, for one, we've got a heat advisory in place for the Bay Area until 7 o'clock tomorrow evening. We're talking about temps that are 15 to 20 degrees above average, with inland highs 90s and 100s and coastal highs in the 80s and 90s. Not to mention for the valley, we're going to be about 10 to 15 degrees above average, putting us in the 90s to near 100 again for today. That's what leads up to this red flag warning. So we've gone months without any rain, and now we put the winds on top of it, leading to extreme fire behavior potential with rapid spread. I don't know if you've been tracking much of the glass fire over in Napa, but they have had evacuations, as well as the Zog fire in Shasta County. Again, evacuations taking place even around the August complex, which is in the Mendocino National Forest. It did cross a highway, I believe, earlier today, and so evacuations were taking place even there as well. So what are we expecting here with the winds? Let's just take a look at some timelines here. First of all, the impacts of the winds are warming. They're dry, humidity only about 15 to 20%. Now, if you take a look at these winds over the course of tonight, they're fairly calm, only at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. But again, the main thing that we're looking at is not only the winds in isolation and the temperatures in isolation, it's the combination of the two. So when you have the winds, it's going to keep overnight lows fairly warm, and then you combine that with the already warm conditions that we had for today, with highs in the mid to upper 90s and in some place 100s. Now we're looking at a warm evening, light, dry winds that'll primarily stay fairly light through the first part of overnight and early tomorrow morning, but then they'll start to pick up during the afternoon. So I'm just going to kind of slow this down. Here we go through tonight. And of slight concern, I want to back this up just for a moment here, because you see, there we go, right around 9 o'clock. This is where we see, again, we want to look at the contours, because we don't necessarily have observation sites in every single tiny location through the foothills and through the canyons, but you can take a look at how some of these contours are really popping in the 80-50 corridor right here, north of Highway 50, up towards Plumas and Butte counties, even stretching farther north, but and Lassen County as well. Those areas are really going to be under some pretty stressful wind conditions through tonight. Now, not everybody is going to be feeling it, and that's what's so hard to see. Is you look outside, you go, I literally do not have any wind in my backyard, and if the power shutoffs are happening in your neighborhood, it is very difficult to deal with. So that'll be happening through about 8:30 tonight, and then we'll take a look at about 9, fairly similar situation. By about 10 and 11, we see a little bit of calming, but not a whole lot. It's not like these winds are going to be just all of a sudden silent. You'll also see some areas right here along the coastal range near Santa Rosa. Now, keep in mind, just off to the east here in Napa County, we have that new fire, the glass fire, burning right now. So there will be some isolated areas that are still seeing some pretty gusty conditions at midnight. As we take a look through the overnight hours and into early tomorrow morning, the coastal hills will be getting hit pretty hard into tonight and early tomorrow morning. And then we'll start the day off with winds roughly at about 10 miles per hour for most areas. But again, we see some of these little pockets here that are particularly prone to some gusty winds. Just north of I-80, we had the lightning complex fire in that area, so there's certainly the potential for some rapidly spreading fires in those areas. As we head through the afternoon, we will start to see some of these winds back off, seeing much less contours. By the time we get to 3 o'clock, we'll see some winds at about 5 to 10 miles per hour, but not the gusts that are terribly difficult for firefighting efforts. If something starts, it's just so hard to get a handle on it. Again, we're seeing smoke coming out from some of the new fires that we've been tracking for today. This one's called the Glass Fire. You can see the smoke plume just kind of pushing off the coast. And then the other one, the Zog Fire. Of course, we're still continuing to watch the North Complex smoke and the August Complex, again, all pushing its way off the coast with those predominantly east winds. Again, those are coming from the east, pushing off the coast. And then we've got the north winds through the valley, which are dry and warming winds, which may indeed transport some of this smoke coming from the North Complex. Creek Fire is a little farther to the south here. That has the potential to put some smoke back into the valley as well. So again, what we have right now is our red flag warning. That's going to continue through at least tomorrow early in the afternoon. Winds at about 15 to 30 miles per hour. Of greater concern are these gusts, 40 to 45 miles per hour, with ridge gusts up to about 65 miles per hour. So that's basically the run of it for tonight. We'll be updating you on LNT at 11 o'clock this evening. There's my new green screen that I'm working with now. We will also have the latest online, abc10.com. And if there is any need, we will be updating you on air if need be through tonight. All right, in the meantime, take care, and we will be keeping you posted.